Hi, can I just say best camping trip ever? The weather, couldn't ask for better. So I've been mulling it over for a few days because I'm studying Stranger in a Strange Land. I know that we're in book groups. I'm in the sci-fi group, and I know Matthew's already posted. He's reading I, Robot. Haven't listened to his video yet. But we're supposed to discuss about the beginnings of the story. How does the author hook us in? And it's hard for me with Robert Heinlein. Now, I've read quite a few of his, and I've been hooked on, right from the first pages on a number of his stories. But I think what hooks me initially is the premise. And Stranger in a Strange Land is about a Martian named Michael Valentine Smith. And what hooks me in the beginning is actually straight into exposition, which is interesting because that's one of those things in the writer's toolkit, the craft element, that isn't, not too much exposition. But if you look at Dan Brown's novel, The Da Vinci Code, tons of exposition and massive book sales on the Da Vinci Code. So Stranger in a Strange Land is one of Robert Heinlein's most successful, from what I can tell. But it was written in 1961, and I don't think a 21st century audience would necessarily pick that one out as one of his best when you're reading it through today's lens based on what we expect from a book. Like I say, heavy on exposition in the front. Well, not even exposition, but it's heavy on a narrative where a backstory narrative where they say, we went to the moon, and then we went to Mars, and then we never heard back from the people on Mars, and then 25 years later we sent another expedition to Mars, and they found this young man, Michael Valentine Smith, who had been raised by Martians. And that backstory narrative, I think, would have really hooked the 1961 audience, just based on its premise. Mars was still unknown. Mariner 4 hadn't gone by yet and said, this planet's dead. It remains to be seen how dead it really is. But it was after Mariner 4 in 1964 where society as a whole kind of realized that whatever happened on Mars is done. There's nothing active. It definitely looks like a dead planet now. We don't think there's Martians. We don't think that there's living beings with a society there. But pre-1964, there was still a chance there was Martians on Mars. Another interesting backstory part of the narrative is that the asteroid belt is a destroyed fifth planet, and it was actually destroyed by the Martians. And that's kind of neat because the Martians become this enigma. Are they friendly or not? Michael Valentine Smith, who was raised by them, they've been able to teach him to tap into extraordinary human abilities that we obviously have, but we don't know we have. So I think what really hooks us in the beginning is just premise and story and Robert Heinlein.